Every December, cities across Europe light up with Christmas markets. They are places of warmth, community, and seasonal festivity, where lights, food, and music fill public squares. Over time, these markets have become more than festive spaces. They are civic and cultural places, symbols of everyday togetherness. But in recent years, they have entered the public conversation in a very different way. After a series of violent attacks, the Berlin truck attack in 2016, the Strasbourg shooting in 2018, and the car ramming in Magdeburg in 2024, these markets have also become associated with fear. In Berlin, a man drove a truck into the Breitscheidplatz market, killing 12 people. In Strasbourg, a gunman opened fire near the historic market, leaving 5 dead. And in Magdeburg, a car was deliberately driven into a crowd, killing 5 and injuring more than 200. In the aftermath of each event, a similar pattern emerged. Headlines and political speeches did not only describe them as attacks on crowds, they often presented them as attacks on Christmas itself, as if a whole tradition had been targeted. So my question today is this: how did Christmas become a symbol loaded with such political meaning? How did spaces of celebration come to be seen as front lines in debates about identity, belonging, and Europe? The term Christmas market attack began as simple description. These attacks happened in or near Christmas markets, but repetition creates meaning. After the Berlin attack, German leaders spoke of grief, but also of values. Then Interior Minister Thomas de Maizière said that Germany would not allow terror to change its way of life. That phrase, way of life, turned the market into a symbol of something larger, something that needed defending. After the Strasbourg attack, President Emmanuel Macron used similar language. He said terrorism would not shake the unity of French people. Again, the event became more than a tragedy. It symbolized a strike against national cohesion. So over time, the word Christmas began to represent more than a season. It became a reference point for culture, identity, even civilization. And once that framing takes hold, another question quietly appears. If Christmas symbolizes Europe, then who stands outside of it? This shift is not only driven by the far right, though they make it more visible. Across much of the political spectrum, public figures now use Christmas as shorthand for Europe's traditions, its unity, even its moral foundations. After the Magdeburg attack, we saw this again. While far-right politicians described Christmas markets as symbols of our civilization, mainstream voices also spoke of attacks on European values. Even newspaper editorials echoed the sense of a war on our way of life. And yet, these narratives often appear before we know the facts. In Magdeburg, early reactions linked the event to migration and Islam. The initial reports mentioned that the attacker was of Arab background, and this quickly shaped public assumptions about motive and belonging. Yet, later investigations revealed that the suspect had expressed far-right, anti-Islamic views online. Still, the early framing stuck. The idea of Europe under attack had already traveled far and fast. This is what scholars call boundary work, the active construction of distinctions between us and them. Through language and repetition, symbolic lines are drawn between those imagined as belonging to a European identity and those positioned at its margins. And it happens not only in extremist rhetoric, but also in everyday political speech and media coverage. It is worth remembering what Christmas markets actually are today. They are not purely religious spaces. They are also festive, commercial, and deeply public, places where people of many backgrounds come together. If you visit one in Berlin, Strasbourg, or Malmö, you will find families from all over the world enjoying the same space. And the victims of these attacks also reflect that diversity. Among those who died or were injured were citizens of multiple countries and faiths. These are shared civic spaces, so the grief that follows violence in them should also be shared. To protect Christmas markets then cannot mean narrowing who belongs. It should mean preserving the openness they represent, the everyday coexistence they tacitly symbolize. When we study how terms like Christmas attack circulate, we see more than reporting. We see how societies interpret loss, how they draw symbolic boundaries, and how belonging is constructed through moments of tragedy. Rather than asking whether Europe's Christmas is under attack, we might ask what these meanings reveal about who we imagine Europe to be. If we understand these attacks as violence against shared public space, not against a single faith or tradition, then mourning itself becomes an act of inclusion. It becomes a way to affirm that public life and safety belong to everyone. My name is Inci Öykü Yener-Roderburg from the Center for Theology and Religious Studies at Lund University. Thank you for listening.